Hey guys, it's March 28, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful day so far today. Happy TGIF to everybody out there who's about to start their sober weekend, or I hope that you're going to be starting a sober weekend. Been a kind of long day today for me. It's about 6:30 right now. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with Slayer until just a second ago. I told him I had no idea what time it was, and I looked at my watch and I said, "Do you realize it's like 6:15?" And he said, "No, I had no idea." And I said, "I haven't even filmed a video for today yet." He said, "You haven't filmed yet?" And I said, "No, man. I just said in the video the other day that I wasn't going to film today's video until after I left the doctor's appointment, and so I could tell everybody what I found out at the doctor's today." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot all about that." So I just got off the phone with Slayer to film. Like I said, it's about 6:30 right now. But like I said, I spoke with my doctor, and it looks like everything's gonna be moving in the right direction. He already, I didn't even really have to say much to him. I told him what was going on. I told him, that I had just spoke with, or that I had my CAT scan done 2 weeks ago, and spoke with my interventional radiologist the same day. And I just told him, they basically told me that they're not going to clean it back out again. And what's so crazy to me about this is that when I spoke with the interventional radiologist, and I'm not speaking bad about anybody or anything like that. I don't want anybody misconstrued, because my interventional radiologist has saved my life multiple times. He really has. Nothing bad about him or anything, but it's just crazy because I don't know. I don't know if he's just frustrated or what. I don't know, but I could just tell there was just such a huge difference, because when I spoke with him, it was kind of like, at this point, we just need to wait, and I don't want to do any more. The risk doesn't outweigh it and all that stuff. But then when I spoke to my GI doctor today and I told him, I want to go for a second opinion, he's like, "Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? You've got all these problems. You've got a TIPS that's been occluded multiple times at this point now. Yeah, you want to get this taken care of immediately." He completely understood where I was coming from. So, I don't know. It's just strange. That my interventional radiologist is just, I don't know, maybe he's having a bad day, or maybe there could be other things at play here too. I did get denied by my insurance company for that CAT scan, and it took me 3 weeks to get it approved. There was a lot of hoops that we had to jump through for me to be able to get that CAT scan. So I don't know, maybe there's a problem with my insurance, which could be a problem, because we did change insurance policies this year. So that might be something. It's the same company, it's just a different policy. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't say, because I'm not him. But like I said, my GI doctor was just like all for it. And like I said, I'm not going to say exactly what hospital it is, and I'm trying to get into. He did send the referral into the hospital. Now I just have to wait for the hospital to come back and either say yay, nay, or whatever. So I'm just going to have to wait for that to happen. But they told me, they handed me all my paperwork when I went to leave my GI doctor, and they told me, they said, if you don't hear back from interventional radiology at this other hospital by Tuesday of next week, here's the number, call them. So I'm just going to go ahead and call them on Monday and tell them I need this to go somewhere, and soon. And I'm not trying to be a pest or anything like that, but I'm ready to get down there so I can speak to someone. This is pretty time sensitive. So I really want to get to this other hospital as soon as possible, speak to a doctor, and I just want to know what's about to happen too. There are a lot of things up in the air right now. My kids, they started their spring break this weekend. They're off for the next 2 weeks out of school. So, I've got my kids home from school for the next 2 weeks. So if something happens, and they tell me I need to have surgery next week, like I need to start trying to figure out what we're going to do. And we do have support systems and stuff. I got my mother-in-law and, my folks could help out if I needed them to. I mean, there are certain things. I mean, my dad can't do anything. My dad just had surgery on his back. But we've got things that we can do. I just want to know what's about to happen so I can start trying to plan this stuff. Because if they do want me to go ahead and go have surgery, I kind of need to start planning for that. Because, like I said, because my kids are out of school and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to get down there and as soon as I can and speak with someone and try to get an idea of what the next move's going to be. And that's to say if they are even willing to do a procedure on me. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now, I will say this much, that my doctor did tell me that if this hospital, he said, if, for instance, I go to this other hospital, and he said, the hospital that I'm talking about going to, or the one that I've got the referral to now at this point, he said that it's a great hospital, and he refers a lot of people to that hospital. But he said if this hospital doesn't work out, let's say I go down there and I speak with the team and they give me the runaround and tell me they don't think it's a good idea or they're not willing to do it or whatever the case may be. There is another hospital that is way up there. And this is the kind of stuff that they are absolutely known for. It's just a very far drive for me. It's a long distance. But he said that if things at this other hospital don't work out, that he knows people at this other hospital very well, and that he can get me over there. And he said, that he knows for a fact that, that they take care of people like me at this other hospital. So, but they take care of people like me at the hospital I'm trying to get into right now as well. But there's a backup plan for the backup plan. And then there's a backup plan for that backup plan. So if something doesn't work out at the first option, well, then there's a second option. And then we'll have a third option as well if that doesn't work out. So I do have some backup plans already figured out. Now it's just a matter of time to hear back from the interventional radiology department at this hospital. I'm going to explain to them that I need to get there as soon as I possibly can, as soon as they can take me. And I'm going to get to that hospital, speak with their team of doctors, let them know what, the situation that I'm dealing with and see if any of them are willing to take a chance with me. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm really hoping that there's going to be a doctor who takes a look at, my scans and my medical history and says, I think I can take care of this, or I've just dealt with somebody like you last week, or whatever, or I'm willing to take a shot with you. I'm just going to explain to them my situation, and just hope for the best. And I just really do hope and pray that somebody's going to be willing to help me. Because I'm just not willing just to accept that original answer that my interventional radiologist, my original doctor, the one he told me. And I was talking with my dad this morning about just this. And, like I told my dad this morning, this is my life we're talking about. And I'm sorry if I upset anybody with it, if I upset my interventional radiologist because I went to go get another opinion. Like I told my dad this morning, I'm like, if he gets upset, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, this is my life. I can't be concerned about other people's feelings right now, because this is my life. I have children. I want their dad to be here for them. And I don't think that he would get upset. I don't even understand why he would get upset, for me to go get a second opinion. But sometimes people do strange things, so I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't. I'm sure that he's going to find out at some point. I just hope that he doesn't, for some weird reason, get upset and drop me as a patient because I went and did this. But I mean, I'm just doing what's right for me. And, I want to be here for you guys too. And ultimately, I don't want to get sick like that again. I mean, my doctor basically told me that we're just going to, because I've got a blood clot in my portal vein. I had a TIPS placed. For any of you guys that don't know what's going on here, I'll just give you a really quick rundown. So I have a TIPS that's placed in my portal vein, and it's basically a stent that keeps your portal vein open, and they can adjust the flow inside of that TIPS. And what ends up happening is when your liver gets damaged, like cirrhosis like I have, it's like trying to push water through a dry sponge. If you've got a wet sponge and you put a hose up against it, that water is going to kind of flow through that wet sponge rather easily. Well, that wet sponge would be what a healthy liver would be. An unhealthy liver would be a really dried out sponge that you just stuck a hose to. The water's not going to just come flowing through it. It's going to want to bounce out or put pressure back on that hose. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to put that dry sponge up against that hose like this, and it's going to create back pressure on that hose. And the hose is going to want to expand. Well, that's exactly what's happening inside of my portal vein, right off of my liver. All this blood's trying to get into my liver, but my liver is so scarred that it can't flow through there properly. And I've got a blood clot inside of that vein as well. So it's creating a lot of back pressure. And what ends up happening is when you have all that back pressure on those veins, they can sometimes rupture, which is referred to as like a varices. And a lot of times people will get them inside their esophagus. They'll burst, and then you'll start throwing up blood. And as a matter of fact, I just found out just like 3 days ago that a guy that I know very, very, very well, a guy that worked for me for years, I've known him forever, and I just found out that he just passed away like last year, and I had no idea. I guess I've just had so much going on with my own health. I just really haven't paid attention to what's been going on around town. But I found out that this guy just recently passed away. He was like 40 years old. Came from a very well-to-do family. Very well-to-do. It just shows that it doesn't matter what background you come from, what your ethnicity is, how much money that you have, what your occupation was, what your faith is. It does not matter. When it wants to come for you, it will come for you. And he had a varices in his esophagus burst, and he bled to death. And the guy that I was actually speaking to told me, he goes, I don't know what happened to, we were talking about this certain individual, and he said, did you know that he passed away? And I said, no, I hadn't heard that. When did he pass? And he said, just last year, like the holiday season or something like that. And I'm like, what? And I said, what happened to him? He said, I don't know, something about his esophagus burst, and he bled to death from that. And I went, that he was a really big drinker. And I said, he had a varices burst in his esophagus. He goes, yep, that's exactly what it is. That's what happened to him. So another person that I know and that I knew for a very long time just recently passed away because of this disease. Man, I have lost so many people to this. It's absolutely insane. But either way, like I said, I have spoken with my doctor now at this point. He has sent in my referral to the other hospital. Now it's just waiting to speak with them. And then after that, hopefully I'll be headed to that hospital very soon. I'm hoping to be headed down there within the week, but I'll just have to wait and see. I really would like to get in there and speak with interventional radiologists. That's all depending on when they're going to be able to fit me in, but I am going to explain to them the severity of what's going on, how important this is. And I'm really going to stress to them how important it is I get to that hospital as soon as possible. So I'm just going to, it's really in their hands at this moment. I've done everything that I can do for now, and it's just going to be waiting. And this is the hard part. is the sitting and playing the waiting game. But at the end of the day, the steps have been taken at this point now. I've actually spoken to my doctor, and like I said, he didn't even like skip a beat when I told him that, that I wanted a referral. He basically was like, okay, then what else did you want to talk about? I'm like, that's basically it, just a referral. And he's like, that's already done. What is there anything else? He did get me on the table, and did a full body examination, pushed down on my stomach and all that stuff. I do, their laboratory, I thought I was going to have labs done today. But the one day I go down there, and it's LabCorp too. They have a small LabCorp office inside of their office. But there's just one chick that works in there, and she was off today. So I've got to go have labs done next week, and those will get sent in to him. And then he's going to take a look at my labs and just make sure that nothing looks like really off. I mean, he like really checked me out today too. He had a stethoscope and was listening on my stomach. And he said everything sounds really quiet in there right now. I guess if there's something really bad going on there, it makes a lot of noise. I don't know. That's one thing I do not know. But he said everything sounds really quiet. He checked me out, asked me a bunch of questions, pushed on my liver, pushed around on my pancreas, pushed around on my hernias. He said everything looks okay right now. He made me lift my pants legs up, asked me if I've had any fluid retaining in my legs, and I said not that I'm aware of. And he checked my legs out, felt it, and I told him, I said, no, I do feel like my thighs have gotten a little bit of fluid on them, maybe. I said, they just feel like they're bigger. They might even be fat, I don't know. And he goes, oh yeah, I said, because I've really held on to some water in my thighs before. He goes, oh yeah, I remember. As a matter of fact, when I had ascites really bad, I didn't get the edema around my ankles as bad as I did in my thighs. It was so bad that I had like these humongous hips. Like, it was insane. If I sat on the toilet, it would like hang over the sides of the toilet, like way over the sides. It was crazy. I could not walk because my legs were rubbing together so hard. I just could not walk comfortably because there was so much going on the inside of my legs. But anyway, that's another story. So like I said, I've spoken to my doctor. The referral's been sent into the other hospital at this point. Now it's just a waiting game of, speaking to interventional radiology, expressing to them how important it is I get in there as soon as I possibly can. And then getting to that hospital. I probably will spend the night when I go to see the doctor there, because it is quite a drive for me. It's a little over a 3-hour drive for me to get there, about 3-hour drive, depending on traffic. But it's about a 3-hour drive for me to get there. So I'm probably most definitely going to spend the night. And then hopefully I'll have some answers here very, very, very soon. But I'm hoping that as soon as I speak to them, that they'll be getting me in there as soon as I possibly can get in. So like I said, it's just a waiting game. I'm not going to stress out about it, because at this point there's nothing I can do about it. I've done everything I can do. I've spoken to the doctor. He knows how important this is. And like I said, they told me if you haven't heard back from by Tuesday, just go ahead and call over there. I'm just going to call on Monday and just speak to somebody. Interventional radiologies are not open on the weekends at most hospitals. They'll have somebody like there on call, but like their administrative office and all this stuff, there's nobody there. So it's going to be Monday before I get to speak to somebody. But if I don't get a phone call by like noon on Monday, I'm just going to go ahead and call over there and speak to somebody and just tell them, hey, I've had a referral sent. Can you please, get me on the phone with somebody that I can talk to about this? And I'll keep you guys posted, what I find out. But my doctor, when he checked me out today, he said I looked pretty good. He didn't see anything that raised any red flags to him. He did say, because he's the one that originally told me that with those little veins that have grown across my portal vein that are allowing just that little bit of blood to flow through the capillaries. He said, now, if those capillaries get clogged up, that's going to be like it's going to be really bad news. He actually told me that years ago when my first TIPS procedure failed. So I'm not going to worry myself with it. Everything happens for a reason, and I truly do believe that now. I used to hate that saying, but now I believe there's a lot of truth to it, and I'm just going to wait, and I'm not going to get scared. I'm not going to panic. I've got all my faith and my hope, and I'm just going to hang in. And I'm going to enjoy my weekend with my children this weekend. They start their spring break today. So I'm planning on spending a bunch of time with my kids over the next 2 weeks, as much as I possibly can. And I'm just going to enjoy spending time with my family while I'm, still here at the house. Hopefully they're going to get me into the hospital. I'm going to be having surgery very soon, and I'll probably be in the hospital for a few days after the surgery happens, I would imagine. And that's fine. I'll still record while I'm in the hospital. Life will go on as normal. The only thing is I'll just be at another place. The only thing that's not going to be good about this is that this hospital is kind of far and is out of the way for us. I'm not going to have a lot of family there because it's just too far. and like I said, my dad just had surgery, so my mom's not going to be there sitting with me while I'm there if it happens like this week or something. But I'm sure my wife will probably go ahead and take off or something. We'll see. If not, I'll just go by myself. I'll get somebody to give me a ride there. Or I can drive myself. Well, I'm going to figure it out. I'm just going to make it happen. I will get to that hospital and I will have surgery. So however that works out. But either way, guys, that's it. That's the news for today. Like I said, I told you guys I'd come on here today and just let you guys know what I found out. And that's the news. I can say I hope that today's video inspired you to stay sober. As you can see, this is a mess. And it's really stressful, but I'm not going to let it stress me out. This isn't my first time. This is my first rodeo. I've dealt with this before, and I'm just going to stay positive about this, and I'm not going to let it drag me down. This is just very stressful stuff to go through, and this can be avoided. And not only is it time-consuming and stressful, but the money that it costs for these procedures is ridiculous. Just spending any time in hospital is super expensive. I mean, like a Tylenol is like $20. It's just so expensive, and it stresses out the family. It stresses you out. It's just no bueno for anyone. It's just not a situation that you want to put yourself through or your family through. And if you're looking for a reason to stay sober today, I think that's a great one. You just don't want to be stuck in that mess. It's just inconvenient, to say the least. It's just not what you want to have to deal with. And, if you quit drinking or stay sober, and, just really quick, I'm not a doctor. I'm not affiliated with any hospitals or any medical teams or anything like that. I'm just a normal guy who has AUD, and I'm just telling my life experiences with this stuff. And, take it as you will. You can take something for what I'm saying or not take something for what I'm saying. This is not advice. I'm just talking about my life here. But I just think that, staying sober and not going back to it, you can save yourself a lot of headache. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things you'd rather be doing with your time than spending it at the doctor's office or the hospital. I spent my whole entire day today dealing with this. The whole day. I woke up this morning, the first thing that was on my mind. When I went to bed last night, I couldn't sleep last night. I had to turn the TV off and just close my eyes and I just laid there in the bed. I couldn't stop thinking about I had to go to the doctor today. I woke up first thing this morning because I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about it. I just laid there in the bed, kept trying to go back to sleep, but I kept thinking about how I had to go to the doctor today. And it's just not what you want to have to worry about. And like I said, it can be avoided. Don't go back to drinking. And if you get that thought today, just Find something else to do with your time. Get yourself a carbonated water or a sweet tea or a coffee or a Sprite or you name it. Whatever you want to drink. Just anything other than alcohol. It's just not worth that couple hours of feeling numb to pay for it for the next 20 years. And that's literally what it is. It's just a never-ending cycle that it just never stops. As soon as we get sucked back into it, it's just constant, and it just keeps going on and on and on and on until we finally decide again that we want to change. And sometimes that it can go on too long, and it can end up being too late. Don't let that happen to you. There's somebody driving around, it sounds like in my woods down there. I don't know, sometimes the sounds are really strange because there's a valley right down there. As a matter of fact, I don't think there is. That's why I keep looking down there. It sounds like somebody's down there driving around on a four-wheeler or something. But anyway, well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here for today. I'm about 26 minutes in, and it's probably past 7 o'clock right now. And I need to get this video put together so I can start getting it uploaded. So I've got a video up for you guys for tonight. So thank you so much for watching today, guys. I truly do appreciate it. Don't forget, there will be that live tomorrow. I will be doing that live tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I'll hang around till about 4. I will have to get off right around 4 o'clock. So I don't want anybody to be upset with me when I have to hop off. A lot of times I'm still getting questions and stuff, and I have to get off at some point. And 4 o'clock tomorrow, I'm gonna call it quits at 4. I've got something I have to do tomorrow afternoon, so I will have to hop off right around then. I'm gonna try to start breaking it down at 3:45 and start letting people know I need to get off here. So let me go ahead and getting off of here now. But at 4 o'clock I will have to jump off, but I do plan on hanging around for at least 2 hours with you guys. I answer all the comments, so it's a chance for you to come in and talk to me about whatever question you might have or whatever it is. We can just hang out tomorrow. It's just a nice opportunity for us all to get to know each other, and especially with all the new subscribers that are here on the channel as well. But other than that, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching today. I truly do appreciate it. And if you'd like to support the channel, there is going to be a link to Buy Me a Coffee for this channel. It's right at the top of the description box. And I will throw the link in here at the bottom as well. Thank you so much to everybody who's donated that. I truly do appreciate you guys. And other than that, I think that's it. And until tomorrow on the live, I will see y'all then. And David in Canada, if you're watching right now, I sure could use your help tomorrow with moderating. Text me, man. I'd like to hear from you. And if you've watched this, let me know if you're okay with doing that tomorrow. I'd love to have you. Other than that, guys, have a great rest of your night tonight. And until tomorrow, I will see y'all on the live. And that's going to be at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tomorrow.